Okay, well, evidently I am streaming. I'm just goofing off. Well, I'm not really goofing off, but I am mostly goofing off. I'm just here in Moho 14.2, I believe, working on a character. I've got most of him rigged, most of his actions set up, and what I'm doing now is just finishing up some of the actions for the bones to make sure they don't bend, warp, and break while animating. So I just figured I'd include you guys while I did it. Here is a back leg movement here, and that's fine because it's just a bone by itself. Nothing that's really going to get screwed up if that moves. But the bottom bones here of the leg are the ones that really need to be focused on, because when they move, we're getting warping here, and we're getting warping here, and then the ones down below, we're getting breakage as those come down and up. So those have to be fixed. There's also a toe bone that's getting warping, and this one of course gets warping, and this one of course gets the breakage we're talking about, and so on. So let me just set that right. So I'm just going to go through and create some stuff. It's not really a tutorial, it's more of like a hangout while I do this. But if you learn something or have a question, there is a chat. Please let me know. Let me just make sure everything's good to go. Yeah, just comment and stuff while I'm working. Be sure to like my channel, of course, and as they say, click the notification bell to make sure you get all of the new content and stuff that I'm putting out. I'm going to be doing a whole lot of new stuff very soon with a better camera setup and stuff like that. There's a cable I need to acquire for making this work on a new camera that I have, just to make sure that things look better, But the cable is a bit oddly, I need to pay for an expensive one because the length needs to be longer is really what I'm getting at. Okay, anyway, you guys, I'm just going to make a new action over here for that particular ankle or calf bone, I guess, or shin bone. And in that, we're going to, that's called shin right. We're just going to go ahead and leave that as is. I'm going to move up to frame 48 as usual. And we're going to bend this around using our transform bone tool. And this one, if we go this direction here, it gets pretty janky. So we're going to have to, affect a couple layers here. Definitely the shin bones layer, and of course the thigh bones layer. And I think I'm going to start with the shin bone. Let's go ahead and turn off the thigh bone, though. Let me just see, leg upper right. We're just going to hide that. And then in the leg lower, where if I can find it, leg lower right, we're going to go and affect these points here because they are seriously out of whack. And my pen seems to be doing some odd stuff. There we go. Hopefully there won't be any issues during this live stream like I tend to have. It only happens in a live stream, but it seems like, not say anything negatively, but it always happens to me. Every live stream, there's something that just stops working. It's fine. It happens to a lot of people I know. Let's go ahead here back to the leg upper right. We'll turn that layer back on. And on the same, let me see, leg upper right, we, let me see what I did there. I think oh yeah, sorry. Yes, the leg lower right, we wanted like that. Now in the leg upper right, I didn't realize I needed to make these changes here. I thought I was working on the lower for some strange reason. So as this comes up, I'm going to move these guys into a better place. Maybe something like that. Let's find out. That isn't too bad. So we're going to leave that one like that. Now we do need to make another action for the other direction, but now that I'm thinking about it, maybe I don't, because this particular leg will never go in that direction unless this character is flipped, I think. So let's just stick with it. And now we're going to go down to the shin or the foot bone here, if I can remember what in the world I'm saying and doing. And we're just going to double click back to the main line to start with. Go back to our, back to the main line. I guess we didn't jump out of it after all. Told you it's being a little weird. There we go. We'll jump down to that foot bone. What's happening here? Only in a live stream, folks. Let's go to our select bone tool. That would probably help. And now we're going to make an action for that bone. Yeah, you need to be in your bone layer when you do this. It makes it a lot easier. And, or you should be anyway. We're going to create another action here for the foot. And once that creates, I'm going to go up to frame 48. And we do have to do 2 actions for this particular bone because it will scrunch up this way, which doesn't seem to be too much of a problem at the moment. So more than likely we can just leave that one like so. Jump back to the main line one more time. I don't know why my pen is kind of working and not working all of a sudden. I'm trying to jump back to the main line. It doesn't want to double click, so let's do it with the mouse. And then here we'll create another action for the same bone, foot R2, D2. And then this one, back at frame 48, is also going to bend, but the other direction. So this one will come way down to about here. Doesn't really need to go more than that. And you can see it's broken. So we're going to go into its layer. We'll go find the foot layer here. Foot right. And now we want to kind of rearrange things to, whoops. There we go. To sort this out. I do get confused with my my controls sometimes because I use so many programs that sometimes I forget, do I right click here, do I left click here to get things going. So don't worry, I'm not freaking out or anything, but sometimes I get a little like, wait a minute, is it right click, left click, is it shift click? Well, it's usually shift click for the certain things. Okay, anyway, enough of my psychosis. Let's go check this movement out and make sure that it works. Seems to be good. But see, about halfway through, it sucks. So we're going to go back to about halfway through. I'm going to move the points around. Adjusting, the curvature of those points as well to make sure everything stays in line as it should. Looks pretty good. Let's just test from here forward. Looks good. And here, now the thing is, you can see these kind of squishing as they go. It's because I have probably a different keyframe interpolation set here. I want to go here and just select linear for all these. That way they move very linear when this happens, when it does move. So that I'm not liking here either. So I'm just going to pull that up. And then that's not horrible. There is a little bit of a weird dip happening right there. It might be because of the curvature of that point. Those things make a difference. So, okay. Good for now. Let's go ahead and do this last toe. So back into our bone layer and back into the toes. Now this has a, looks like a keyframe set, which is interesting. I don't believe I ever made an action for that. But evidently I did that. Now we're still in foot, that's why. So let's go back here up to mainline. Should have done that before. We're gonna make sure that bone is selected. There is foot. We need to create one for toe. So there's toe R, cool. And now at frame 48. It's very easy to get confused. So don't feel bad if you do. But you don't have to follow along with this. There will be a tutorial coming up after this today that I'm going to create and then eventually upload, probably today, on animating this character, doing a walk or something like that. We'll see. So I'm going to do the first action. This is going to bend the toe up this way, and I don't like how it's kind of morphy looking. So we find our toe right layer. 30 minutes from now. There is our leg, upper, foot, right, lower, right. No, we need... Oh, this is going to be lower right. Leg, lower right. It's all one piece. We do have certain points connected to this, and it's foot right, I'm sorry. And now we're going to make sure that these points move in the right way when we bend that bone. And right the way they are right now, it's not ideal. So we're gonna go like so, and that's probably all I really even had to do. Yeah, that's perfect. We can even make that bottom flex a little less if we wanted to, just to give it a little less, you know, puffing. I think that works good for that one. We're gonna go back up to the main line. There we go. And we're going to make another action for that toe going the other direction. So this one, though, is being called action 20. I'm not quite sure why, because this should be the same bone. So let's make sure that we are on the bone layer, which we're not, and that is why. So now, back on that same bone, now we'll create that action, and it will select toe. Always go back to the bone layer when making actions for bones. Okay, so now 48, and then I'm just going to bend these down. There we go. You can see how ugly that gets. And I'm going to now to the foot layer again. I don't know what's wrong with me. And then move those points around appropriately. People keep saying accordingly, which is yeah, that's true, but it's become a popular word, I guess. All right, so quickly I'm going to select these points of toe, leaving out that point right there. And then I'm going to move that toe layer down, because it should do this. That looks pretty good. I think I'm going to live with that. Cool. All right, so back up to our main line again. This takes us back to the main timeline. That's why it's called main line. I'm going to have to work on my my pin. Something's up with the double click. It's the sensitivity, for some weird reason, probably got turned down in an update. Okay, now to the other foot. Let's check this out. As far as I know, okay, this upright one will need to be adjusted. But if you look, something's up with the bone here. It really shouldn't be exactly where it's at. So we're going to fix that in our bone layer once again. And we're going to select this bone and just turn that a bit. I want that running down the middle of the leg. And this one here, same way. And then we'll fix the foot there. And I think this one could come back just a little bit, so we still have a little bit of bend there. We can even shorten that bone and re-snap this one to that. A lot of freedom in this program. It's great. Okay, so now back here, we need to make sure this bone has a new action. This is going to be shin left. There was a movie about a list of his, I think, shin left's list, but I don't know. Back on there, we'll say okay. And in frame 48, I'm just going to bend this leg right here, and we're going to see just how messy that is. Obviously, we're going to need to turn off the left upper. So our left leg upper, we're going to turn that off for now. And then we can come in here, deselect all of our points of the foot or the leg lower left. And just move those guys around like so. Perfect. Now the leg upper left, we can go back here and readjust more appropriately or accordingly. And yeah, that looks great. Let's just stick with this. What's going on here? There we go. Looks perfect. My screen is a little dirty, but I don't think that's the reason for the lag. It's not really a lag. It's just kind of not feeling as sensitive. Okay, and then now we're going to go back up to the main line. And we're going to go on to the other direction of the same bone. Well, actually, we don't need to because this one doesn't kick out. We may do that later if I think that when we do a turnaround on him, that will need to happen. It's possible. Anyway, moving on. Left leg upper, lower. Okay, let's go down to that foot now in our bone layer, which is your main top layer. And then in that foot layer, we're going to create an action. This will be foot L, and at frame 48, we are going to give that a movement to just show where that's going to go. I think that's totally fine. So back to the main line. Not really an adjustment needed there. I'm going to go create another action for that same bone. Foot L2. Yeah, it's possible my graphics display needs an update here. Let's go ahead and bend it this way. And then, of course, we will now select the foot left again, layer, and just kind of adjust these points around as needed. So this can come up here. All that can be adjusted if you want to. I'm going to kind of move these down around a bit just to kind of get them in a better place. Let's see how that looks when it bends. Obviously, the middle of that. God, why is this letting go here? That could be better here. I think that works there. Maybe a little off there. So if you have a problem with the points turning, just grab your, the point curve tool there and adjust it. So I'm just going to check, make sure that all looks okay, which it does. We'll go back here to the main line. And things are running weirdly. Oh, I know what it is. I have Resolve open, doing some editing, and it is pretty much eating up quite a bit of the video RAM probably. Let me just come in here and save and close. Oops, and close that. We'll just go ahead and save and close that out. We should have a little more video RAM to work with now. Okay, and now I'm going to go in to the toe bone, back in the bone layer. Let's come back here and make a new. Make sure you're in the bone layer. For some reason it is not. Oh, select the bone. And go ahead and make a new action there. Toe left. See, all these little things do matter. Okay. And I'm going to throw that one upward. Looks a little warpy, so we can fix that one. Whoop, let's just undo that because I want to make sure we are on some other frame here. 48 is good. We'll just rotate that up. And I'm going to go down to our left foot layer and readjust all the points. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see them. I'll move those around as needed. That's not horrible, just a little more fluid there would probably be good. So let's find out. Yeah, that looks pretty good. And then we're going to go back up to our main line. It's probably, I need to restart the program if that was going to stop doing the weird stuff. Let's go ahead down now on that same bone on the, what do you call it, the bone layer. Now we'll come in here, make a new action there. Toe L2, and this is where we're going to bend it down. So over to frame 48. And 48, that's an arbitrary frame. You can pick any one you want, but 48 frames gives me just enough time to get that motion in there, and if I need any other tweaking frames along the way, they're there. You can use 100, you can use 5. It just depends on what you need. I just think 48's a nice, well-rounded number. It's 2 seconds essentially of film ish. I mean, you can do 15 frames a second for animation or 24 or whatever you want, but you get the idea. So this one is just going to come down and bend this way now. And I think we're just going to grab the foot L again and make sure everything's deselected. Move your points around as they need to be. I'm going to select that entire claw, I think, again, and get that moved down a little bit. I think that would look better if it doesn't kind of spin on its middle and squeeze upward as it bends. Okay, we'll just take this one and move it down a little bit that way. Let's find out. So, yeah, that looks good. And I think as this bends too, this knuckle can come down just slightly, so it doesn't look like it's just, you know, not forming there. There we go, a little more natural. Cool. Okay, so back out of that. And as far as I know, that's all the corrections this dude needed before going and animating him. So make sure you come back for that quickly. Well, today, tomorrow, and let me know what you think.